Hello, one and all. It's Total Spotfest time. We have a lot to talk about, mainly the fallout of Halloween. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about all the trick-or-treaters, or the lack thereof. Plus, I guess we could talk a little wrestling, right? This is Total Spotfest.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, welcome back to Total Spotfest. I am JJ Brownlee, accompanied by a very chilled and relaxed Jamie Faulkner. Mr. I don't have to go to work all week, so... Comes in and is like, yeah, I was voluntold to take the week off because I have too much PTO, so... Thank you, Jamie.
I got to do it now because our other coworker's wife's going to have a baby here for too long, and he's going to take off pretty much the rest of the year, so...
And if you happen to be listening to the McAnellys, congratulations to you guys, of course. If you're not listening, shame on you for not listening. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us, all of you wonderful Spotfestians out there. If you are watching us on YouTube, please give a comment down below to join the conversation while you're down there. Hit the like button. And if you're listening to us and you want to get in touch, it is at Total Spotfest on Twitter. You can also find us on our website, www.totalspotfest.com. So,
yep, and if you like our witty banter, don't forget to subscribe not only on YouTube but on any of your podcast channels that you listen to. Please, please, please. It means a lot.
Do all the things. It really does help, especially for smaller podcasts like ourselves. I hate begging. I hate doing that because I feel like a schmuck, right?
We're the indie wrestling of
on that like button, subscribe and bell. I hate doing that.
It's pandering. It's different. It's pandering.
I know. It's one of those. It's just against my nature. I'm not a guy that asks for. So anyway, but. So you, like I said, you got the week off here. Congratulations. We are going to be enjoying some live AEW this week. So yay for that.
Yes.
How was your weekend, by the way?
It was pretty good. We did a lot of Halloween stuff. Like Saturday, we officially set up our Halloween stuff because we had a lot of spider webs and spiders and stuff like that. So we didn't want it to get wet and soggy and gross because it's been raining a little bit. So we did that and got everything all set up. And then we had a blast with trick-or-treating. Jen and I set up a table. Then we had all of our jack-o'-lanterns that we carved and all that stuff out. And we had our jumping spider, because we got one of those jumping spiders, underneath the table. And we had it we had a whole bunch of not paper mache, but ribbons covering it so you couldn't see it, and we set up a step pad, so literally as soon as they step on the pad, it'd jump out at them as they're getting their candy. It was great. We only made 2 people cry, so it was worth it.
I went out and bought myself a giant bag of Reese's stuff. My favorite. I know we're both on diets, you and I. Yours is a little more stringent than mine, but I'm just okay. If there's a few left over, I'll do one little piece a day. It's not that. It's okay, right? It's 80 calories. It's a little bit of sugar. It's fine, right? Not bad. And, I was I had a big pumpkin outside my house. I didn't carve it up this year, but a big pumpkin. And I actually opened up my light to turn off the timer, so the light was on the whole time. I didn't know if it was going to be Saturday or Sunday, and so I just out there. I didn't have a single trick-or-treater. I have a bowl of Reese's and my lion helmet just sitting over there by my front door, and I'm like, well, I guess I got a lot of Reese's to eat this year.
No trick-or-treaters, man. We had over 100
my neighborhood, it's... I don't remember that, because I used to live down... Jamie lives in Raymore, is the city inside the metro that he lives in. I used to live there. And I remember there's kids all over the place, right? We went through 2 whole giant bags of candy when I lived down there at the time. And I moved up north, and I moved to the north part of Kansas City, the Northland, blind. I never lived up here. I just kind of boom, bought a house. I like the house, like the neighborhood. Cool, let's go, right? And a lot of people up here take their kids to trunk or treat or all those sort of event things and whatever. And there's just, because I have a few kids in the neighborhood, there's some, but they just don't really go door to door trick or treating. So
I can't stand trunk or treating. Okay, so here's the thing. We do some trick or treating. Like we did some, like it's a canned good drive, and of course, we did that. It was done by the high school Stuco or student council, whatever they call it now. It's not even student council; it's called something else now. But whatever. So we did that, and then like that's fine. But to completely replace trick or treating because you feel it to be safer is ridiculous because of all those damn urban legends about kids getting bad spiked candy and stuff like that. Like
razor blade in the Jolly in the Snickers bar.
yeah.
Or,
it's
whatever.
It's a load of crap. As a horror aficionado as I am, that is a load of crap because the only person who's ever died on record who's ever died from bad candy is because their father poisoned them and killed them. Their father did it, not them getting some crazy stuff. So it's the one night a year where people can be communal with each other. You say hi, you're very pleasant, even if you don't like the next door neighbor like I don't. You're very nice and very pleasant with them, and you're like, happy Halloween, and you put on the smile, and you look at all these kids dressed up and having a good time, and you forget that there's shit going on in the world. Like, you are just happy to see faces around you, giving them treats. It is just a great time.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just, for some reason, my neighborhood here, and maybe, people that, because I have neighbors that have I don't have a ton of kids in my neighborhood, right? But I got my next door neighbor and across the street and, and around the corner, both ways of the corner. I live on a cul-de-sac, but, either way, there's kids, and they're not like, they range from like 6 to like 16, right? So I got a range of kids there. You think you see some, but maybe they go to other neighborhoods that are more populated with more kids, and
maybe I don't know.
I don't know. For some reason, last year nobody. It was 2020, right?
Yeah.
It's a different world.
Yeah,
didn't have dick anybody, right? But the year before, I had a few here and there, right?
Yeah.
So I figured, hey, we're done with the pandemic. I'm gonna have. Or we're on the back end of the pandemic. I'm gonna have so I've got this big bag of Reese's, and I was ready to go, and
nothing.
Not
that
one.
just
So.
that just grinds my gears. And so next year, Jen and I have already talked about this. So next year, she wants to do something like she wants to get a fog machine. Like she's starting to get into it. Like she's starting to get in the Halloween spirit, just like me.
You guys are turning into like a Modern Family all of a sudden up in here.
So like on our yard, you've seen our house. Like our yard's right by the main drag, and there's a nice sidewalk right by our yard, and it's fairly dark. So what we were thinking about doing, at least this is what I'm thinking about doing, is using the fog machine there along the side, and then I would have the fake chainsaw that we have, which everybody should own one, and then and then get a pig's head. I was either gonna do Leatherface, but I decided a pig's head mask would be the best, and then just run up and down scaring the shit out of kids and be like, give me your candy, kid, or I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you like a fish, something like that, just to mess with kids and where they couldn't see me moving around and stuff. And I just think it'd be great and fun and scary, and that's what Halloween's all about. And of course, they get candy. So.
Well, it's beyond us now. We are past spooky season.
364 more days till Halloween.
Have you heard any Mariah Carey yet? That's all I want to know.
Hell no. So funny fact about that is one of our...
We are getting the wrestling, by the way, guys. Sorry. We're going on a wild tangent, but that's just bear with us.
I love Halloween. I'm sorry. But literally this morning, because the girls were out of school on Monday morning, Audrey's like, oh, put on Christmas music. And literally Megan's like, what are you doing? No, there's Thanksgiving first. Like...
And I agree, 100%.
I am so.
I am as Christmassy as you are Halloweeny. I mean, Christmas reminds me a lot of my mother. My mother had an entire storage room in her house. That was Christmas. Like, they had the regular storage room where we're like all of our stuff, was all my baby shit and my sister's stuff and their wedding pictures and all that. And then the other storage room was just jam packed. Full of Christmas shit. My mom was a Christmas Central thing, and it rubbed off on me. It's my favorite holiday. I've already started I'm building new lights for my front yard this year. I'm doing a whole different thing, but they will not go up before Thanksgiving. There is another holiday before Christmas. I'm preparing. I'm getting ready.
We'll put our stuff out Friday. Black Friday. That's the day our stuff goes out.
Depending on when we do lunch or when we do Thanksgiving meal, it's usually that Friday
Or that
but
weekend.
sometimes it's Thanksgiving night.
Oh, okay, fair.
Oh, it's gotta be Friday, unless it's like pouring down rain or shit. It's Friday. I want like as soon as Thanksgiving is over, as soon as that last football game's done with, I'm like Christmas time. Let's go.
Yeah.
I am out the door. So, all right. Happy holidays to everybody, no matter which holiday you prefer. Let's do wrestling on this wrestling podcast. How about that?
I like that idea.
All right, so we have a bunch of little things going on here. We'll talk about Rampage in a second. You have numbers from this past week, though, handy, don't you?
I do. I really do. There you go.
I need to stop setting you up for that. I really do.
No. Hard pass. All right. So, fun week for the world of wrestling. Everybody was up except for one, and there's an obvious reason why that one was not up. So, I'm actually going to give a WWE product a buy, which is odd for me, as we all know. But
and while you do that, hold that thought, because I have a note about that buy that you're going to talk about when we get to that moment. So let's go.
Okay. So Raw was up. Raw was up to 1.658 million, which is up from 1.593. So it is up, but still like $1.5 million ish, right? Not exactly.
It's not
breaking down the doors.
Right. It's up for what? It's up. Definitely. Yes, that is up. But my God, still.
Right.
The fact it's below 2 is just mind-boggling to me.
I totally agree. NXT was also up, but I think it has a lot to do with Halloween Havoc.
Like I mentioned last week, I watched some of that. Not bad. It was not bad. From all the shit we talk about 2.0, NXT 2.0, not the wrestling team 2.0.
We like them.
Yeah, this was actually not bad. It was not.
Yeah. So
what were they up to?
They went up to 746, which is up from 606. So a cool 140,000 people more. That was solid.
That's a good clip.
Now AEW,
and you can thank because you'll like this. You can thank for that.
Who?
The guy who put the show on. Man who's in charge right now with Triple H being out because of his heart.
Oh, who's that?
Shawn Michaels.
Oh, Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels is head producer of NXT for the moment.
Oh.
Look what happens when you have someone capable in charge. You get a decent show and you get some good ratings. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying, Vince.
Just saying. Hashtag toxic attraction, dripping in gold. Anyway. All right, AEW first night back on Wednesday, and it was successful, but not really successful if you think about it. So here's the thing. They were up. They were up a lot because they were on Saturdays. They were up to 941,000, up from 575. Okay. But this is the lowest it's been on their normal Wednesday since July.
Right.
So not a big win because I bet a lot of people are still worried about it. I think this week is going to be a true representation when they're in Kansas City, Mo. And we're going to invite some wrestlers to have barbecue with us, and hopefully they take it because JD Drake hasn't responded, and clearly he's not coming to Kansas City. But whatever, I digress. I think this confirms that JD Drake agrees with us on who the best barbecue is, and he doesn't want, because he knows we'll film it. He doesn't want to be called out and disappoint his fellow Carolinians. I bet you that's what it is. Is it Carolinians or Carolinians?
It's Carolinians.
Okay. I've always heard it's Carolinians. Right?
You guys let us know down below. Is it Carolinians or Carolinians? Because I'm pretty sure it's Carolinians.
It sounds better. I mean, honestly, the Carolinians. But whatever. Tomato. All right. So Impact was up a cool 7,000 people. For them, that's a big number because they were up to 100,000, up from 93.
On the dot.
On the dot. Boop. On the dot. Then SmackDown. Here's the one who took a big hit because they were on FS1 instead of good old-fashioned Fox because of the World Series, which go Braves. I'm on the record now. Go Braves. Beat the cheaters.
You're not so much pro Brave, you're anti Astro, which I think, yeah, that's everybody outside of Houston.
So okay,
with you. With you.
So fun fact, of course, my champion, our champion, Megan, 2 belts. Since we both have a belt now, even though the FWO has 3 belts.
But yeah.
But anyway, her favorite baseball player is Dansby Swanson, who's the shortstop for the Braves. So fun fact there. So it comes all full circle on the Braves, and we are pro.
I legitimately
I like it.
I like the Braves. I like the Braves the way they're built. I know there's controversy around them because of the whole tomahawk chop thing. Whatever.
We do it too
I
in
understand
Kansas City.
that.
But sorry, it's with a fist now. if you watch the stands, everybody's
really
doing this. Yeah, now it's just a united fist. Everybody, their mothers.
That makes.
Like, I mean, that's how it is. It's like with a full hand instead of the fist. But
I mean,
the Clark Hunt and everybody, they've said fist.
They say do with the fist. It's weird. I wonder if Florida State does, because there's two. So I think it started in Florida State.
It started in Florida State, and the Seminole Nation actually backs them because, lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, Florida State does a lot of good things for the Seminole Nation down in Florida, and
they also consult with them on everything related to their iconography, mascot, everything.
So they originally got that approved by the Seminole Nation in order to do the tomahawk chop. Fun fact. I'm glad you brought that up because I had that in my back pocket.
That's a great piece of knowledge to have. Yeah. Right. I remember because growing up in central Illinois, they used to have Chief Alinowick, who was the most culturally appropriated, like live mascot there ever was. And there was old caricature, like logos of him. Like, you've seen them for KU and MU. They had the same thing. The Jayhawk that was kind of comically shaped, and same thing with the old Navy cat tiger head, right?
Or the old Cleveland Indian.
That's how Chief Alinowick looked, like the old Cleveland Indian with a full headdress, which doesn't make any sense because the chief doesn't. Yeah, it was so culturally appropriated. It was, but the Seminoles do it right. We're going on another. This is another tangents tonight, guys. Sorry.
Sorry.
All right. So, World Series SmackDown on Friday. FS1. What's the number?
1.032 million.
Over 1 million on FS1, though. I mean, that is surprising.
Down from 2.249 million, which
but over 1 million on FS1
is solid. Yeah, it's solid, right? It's not terrible, but
I would not have guessed that number on that network.
Yeah, and then Rampage was up as well. They did 623 compared to 533, so they were up almost a full 100,000, and it was a great show.
We're going to talk about it, and it's an even more interesting number because WWE is not competing with AEW. They don't view them as competition, guys. They don't. That's absolute coincidence that WWE ran 2 replays of SmackDown immediately after the first airing of SmackDown on FS1.
That's just coincidence.
Complete coincidence, right? So we can actually use this. So they had 2 encores. The first encore on FS1 at the exact same start time as Rampage drew 278,000 viewers. And then they ran the second SmackDown at midnight, which drew 147,000 viewers.
Interesting.
So if you want to get technical on similar channels, if you think about this, TNT, FS1, I'd put them on the same breath, a secondary sport channel and a top tier
cable channel.
Yeah. I'd put them similar, right?
That's fair.
At the same time, you had 623 for AEW, 278 for SmackDown. Now, that was a replay. We really go head to head and did apples to apples. Would it be the same? I don't know. But it's just the pettiness of it, Last week, they ran a SmackDown encore on Saturday, completely to try and disrupt Dynamite's numbers, right? 100%. And it was successful for them. They did decent numbers. They did about I think they did close to the same, maybe even a little bit more than what AEW did, because it was on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm just going to leave that out there. So,
All right. So those, ladies and gentlemen,
side note.
after the many different variants, if you will, if you're a Loki fan, that we just took, and yeah, those are your numbers, ladies and gentlemen.
Cool. Well, interesting stuff going on in the wrestling world right now. There's not a ton of like big news. There's a bunch of little news out there though.
Fair.
So indie promotions are amping up their stuff. They tend to, a lot of the indies tend to peak and valley, along with they gear a lot towards big weekends in large promotions. So WrestleMania, All Out, stuff like that. They kind of ramp up towards those events because that's when you have the most number of wrestling fans in a location, and you can piggyback off of that to get yourself the most exposure for your promotion. But there's some good stuff going on out there. There was a little bit more news on Ring of Honor, as a matter of fact. Speaking of indies, so we talked last time about Ring of Honor releasing everybody for their contracts, and they're going to take the first quarter of 2022 to reevaluate. I don't even remember what terminology they use.
Yeah.
But reevaluate their situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Metzger's report. Excuse me for 1 second here. You tell it's getting cold out. Nice and dry in the house. Just
So we gotta talk like this,
We turn it Jake the Snake Roberts, and we just gonna come at him, and yeah, that's how we're gonna do. Or I go, no, I'm not going Barry White. I can't go from Jake to Barry. That's not good. Like it very much. All right, so Metzger is reporting that Ring of Honor's plan is to move forward as more or less an indie promotion where they don't have contracted talent.
Like a paper appearance.
Like an appearance thing. They still plan on having title belts for themselves for the promotion.
Okay.
But the people that they have are going to be free to work in other promotions. They don't know what that'll entail if they have somebody who maybe is picked up who's a champion, very similar to NWA sort of style, where it's Serena Deeb, championship signed with AEW, and but there's some overlap, some leeway there, I'm sure. But that is kind of what the scuttlebutt is that they're moving to be more of an indie, kind of a la GCW almost.
I like it. I think that's a good move for them, honestly, because of where they are in the market right now. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, they're not up there on the same level anymore. They're really not.
No.
I would say if you go up to that level, the ones who have TV contracts are the ones that are up there. I know that Ring of Honor did have a TV deal, sort of, right?
Yeah.
It was on occasionally on Bally Sports every once in a while here in Kansas City, and whatever. I don't get Bally Sports anymore. Thanks, YouTube. But it is what it is.
I do.
Good for you.
Thank you.
NWA has a TV deal, and Impact has a TV deal, as bad as it is. So, I think that it makes more sense for them not to act like Impact or AEW, because they're not. So, if this means that Ring of Honor stays around in some capacity, I'm all for it. I think it might even improve the product. And yes, this does mean that there's a lot of wrestlers out there that got to do a lot more hustling. That's kind of what, until you get to that upper echelon, that's kind of what the wrestling life is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think if anything, like we've talked about, we are in a renaissance of indie wrestling. I totally believe that. This is the grunge movement of wrestling, if you will, because the smaller guys are going against the big guys and making a go of it. And it only breeds better competition even between those two. And honestly, a lot of these indie wrestlers are used to, hopping in a car for 10 hours to make a show, then turn around and, go all night to another one. And, they're already used to that stuff. And the thing is now is their name continues to get bigger. Thank you, Ring of Honor, for doing that for a lot of these guys. Their money is just going to keep getting bigger. I mean, look at Danhausen. Danhausen is the most over independent wrestler, hands down. And you can't tell me different. And where is he contracted through? Freaking Ring of Honor. And he's making money all over. Bags and bags of money.
He has his second, this week, he has his second limited edition, not just regular, but limited edition Micro Brawler. He already had one. He's had 2 or 3 before this, too. But these are the special limited edition ones that they have. He's all over Pro Wrestling Tees. I mean, he making a killing with that. He was invited on the Jericho Cruise. Really, when you look at that, you had all AEW and a couple of big name stars, like Will Ospreay, right?
Yeah.
And Danhausen.
Yeah. He's so over. And he was contracted.
You can get there. Yeah. Warhorse. We saw Warhorse on AEW. It gets more promote, more. I think that when you have companies that are willing to work with these independent talents, having a place to house them as like kind of your home promotion, right, without being contracted, is not a bad thing.
I agree.
And it makes better sense. So we'll see what Ring of Honor really does, what they really follow through with that. But that is kind of the word on the street right now, that they think that it's going to be like that.
I think that's a great move for them. I applaud it. Smart.
While we're talking about independence, somebody who's out there amongst the world of independency, sure.
It works.
Yeah. One former Mr. Bronson Reed, Jonah, if you would. He's going just by Jonah, I think, now.
Yeah.
Just Jonah. One word, like Prince. Like a really big Australian prince.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Anyway, so it was because he was rumored to have been booked to be on and appear at Impact's Bound for Glory, right?
Yep.
And never happened. Their big surprise was pulling out the Demon from WCW's archives, right?
Yeah.
Well, he spoke to the Wrestling Inc. Daily, and apparently what had happened was very similar to the Inspiration, that because he's Australian as well, and there was immigration problems. He says that he should have them all. This was something I read yesterday, and it said that he should have them all sorted out within the next week, and he should be good to go. He's got very good immigration attorneys on it right now. I think he's still bound for Impact, is what it sounds like.
Which I love. He is perfect for them.
I think he absolutely is. I think the mix of people they brought in is just the right mix. W. Morrissey is great in there.
Yep.
You have the Inspiration, who are going to be great in it. They're already fantastic. They're already right?
Great, yeah.
They're so good. Steve Macklin's reinvented his career, something fierce. They have Laredo Kid and Black Taurus up from AAA, and it really helps them with that. You bring in Jonah as well. Moose is your champion. Josh Alexander's vying for the belt. Sammy Callahan, if he ever gets back healthy again, or when he gets back healthy again, they have a good eclectic mix. I think that he would fit wonderfully in. So, speaking of Impact, wonderful. Speaking of Impact, so real fast, just talk about the last week's show. It was the fallout from Bound for Glory, and I really liked them doing the tapings in Vegas. The bigger arena, it's a bigger stage basically. So they're able to get a decent crowd in there instead of the 30 people they had at the little studio in Nashville, right?
Yes.
So it feels better. It feels like a better crowd. Still not like a big 1,000 people crowd or more, but it feels like a good little, much better crowd in there. And they had Moose come out, and he did the whole shtick of, I'm not a bad, I know I've done some bad things and this and that. And he gets jumped by Eddie Edwards. Then he beats up Eddie Edwards, and he starts to go back into his shtick again. And he's like, I know I've done some terrible things, but it doesn't matter. I'm the greatest wrestling champion. He's like, I know some of you think, and perhaps the most heinous thing is me attacking Josh Alexander and cashing in my opportunity right in front of his beautiful wife and young child. And I don't give a damn, I am the best. He's so good. He does this nice, slow, deliberate delivery. His presence, he's come leaps and bounds from when he first came in and tried to be the ex-NFLer, right?
Yeah.
They all come in with the same singular note. If you played football, you're a big old guy that used to play football. You come with the same notes. I'm a jock. Woo, let's go. That's what they did. So he's so good. And then he goes and he shoots on everybody pretty much. He says it doesn't matter how elite you are.
Cool.
It doesn't matter if you're the head of a table, if you're the man, the boss, the woman, the king, or a king, the queen. It doesn't matter what day of a week you are champion. You could add a whole new day to the week, and I'd still be the greatest champion in professional wrestling right now.
Ooh.
There you go, Moose. Just shoot on everybody. Fuck it, right? You know?
Spray and pray, baby. Spray and pray.
Yeah. Then, of course, Josh Alexander comes, jumps him, and he gets saved by Minoru Suzuki. This is Suzuki's end of his U.S. tour, if you would.
Yeah.
Impact. So he comes out and faces face-to-face with Josh Alexander, right? So later on, they make next week's main event is going to be, because everybody's mad, right? Everybody's mad, at Moose. So Scott D'Amore grants it's Matt Cardona, Eddie Edwards, and Josh Alexander, because the three of them are fighting about who gets first shot, right? Backstage. He's like, all three of you against Moose, and if he can find two people to join him, great. If he can't, I don't give a shit. He can go 1-on-3. But, so 3-on-3. Well, he goes and propositions W. Morrissey, who I want to see these two really go at.
Me too.
And it looks like it's going to happen because, Morrissey's saying, like, hold on, big guy. You had done the exact same thing to me. I just did it to you first. And here's a new proposition I'm going to make. You help me take out these guys, you get first shot. So Morrissey's on board. He's a teammate next week. And then they go find Suzuki. Suzuki stabs up just like, I'm going to fight you too, right? And he goes, oh, no, you help us get rid of Alexander. He goes, so he's on board. So that's your 6-man tag for next week.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, that was cool. You had Rocky Romero from New Japan win up against Trey Miguel in X Division title match. It was a very good match that it wasn't paced to. It was very, the first like 5 minutes of it were very much one-sided. You thought that it's like, why are we even having this match? It's just a showcase for Trey Miguel.
Yeah,
and then it got real good. So it was like blah, and then oh my god, just oddly paced, But
yeah,
a good showcase of both of them. Rocky Romero looked actually really well after that whole like initial flurry, and then Macklin jumped Miguel afterwards. So that's going to be the feud moving forward. And he cut a pretty sick promo backstage about how he's still undefeated. He has never lost. He didn't pin him. He is undefeated. He should have all this. Well, going on and on and on and on and on. I think they actually set up like a fatal 4-way next week with Black Taurus, Laredo Kid, and somebody else in Macklin for number 1 contender. And then Mickie James made her appearance as the Knockouts champion. I know.
Nice.
I know. Answered on her promo by Blast from the Past. Acid Rain, of course.
Of course. Yeah, why not?
I mean, she's there. So they had some killer matches. They had a belt versus hair match.
Yep.
They had a last knockout standing match. They had a bunch of different matches. And so they're going to face off next week for the title. So that's going to be fun and all. We do know that Mercedes Martinez won the tournament back at Bound for Glory. So she has a title shot
at some point.
Sometime in the future.
Yeah.
I hope they use that to, sorry, Mickey, I hope you're a transitional champion to put the belt onto Mercedes and then set up the Mercedes-Deonna Purrazzo feud that I want to see.
I think we all want to see that. I think that just makes a lot of sense. And honestly, Mercedes Martinez belongs in Impact. I never liked her in NXT, just to be honest.
No, and she was in AEW for like a hot minute, right?
Yeah, she had like 1 or 2 matches and then got signed by NXT.
You're right. You can't blame her. I think that I don't remember if this is 100% accurate, but I think I read at the time that part of the reason she signed in NXT is because she believed that after wrestling she'd be able to move into a coach role with the training with the performance center, because she's around our age, she's above the 30s level, let's just say that.
She is.
Just barely.
Just barely.
All right, so and then of course you had the Inspiration do their whole debut thing, which was nice,
Yes.
And it was done in a backstage promo, very Inspiration-esque. Gia Miller, is going in to get the exclusive, and of course they flag her in, and they're finishing up a phone interview with somebody, so of course they have to offer, and like they have a guy there who's like a butler with a silver tray with water bottles on it, and as she's sitting down, they're finishing up the interview, and Justin McKay holds out in her hand a thing of hand sanitizer. So she
that's
her
perfect.
hands,
Yes.
and then they wrap up, and they're like, Gia, it's like very much still the same character as before. Even maybe a little bit more pretentious now, a little more snooty than they were in WWE.
Perfect.
So, whereas they were kind of cheeky, they're kind of more like the refined snootiness now. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's great. I love them. So, anyway, Impact was pretty enjoyable. The main event was Ace Austin versus Chris Sabin. I'd watch that match whenever.
Yeah, no joke.
Okay. So that was Impact Wrestling. It's like good stuff going on there. I really want to see what's going on. I'm trying not to listen to any spoilers, because they did 2 days of taping. So I believe that's 4 shows that they did at Vegas this go around. They did 4 or 6. I can't remember. But anyway.
Something like that, yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So you have some stuff from New Japan?
I do. I really do. And
I don't know why I fucking set you up for that. So
it's just knocking it out of the park,
Whatever. Just
all right. Well, anyway, I figured everybody would like to have an injury update on Kota Ibushi, the person who lost the G1 Climax final due to injury. Well, it actually came out that he has a right anterior dislocation of the shoulder and joint lip damage. They say his recovery time is going to be roughly 2 months. Not bad, because when you dislocate it, have you ever dislocated a shoulder?
I don't think I have.
It sucks.
I might have.
And the thing is depending on the severity of it, you could also tear your rotator cuff, because it's right in there, because it just pops out of socket, and then the cuff is right there that holds it in, right? Well, the lip got damaged, so that tissue got damaged, but not the rotator cuff. So he got very, very lucky that it was just a dislocation and some damage, not a tear or anything crazy like that. So instead of being out for what could be 9 to 12 months with a shoulder surgery, just 2 months. So that is very good for them. He will miss. Yeah. He will miss obviously the next pay-per-view thing that they got going on, the road to Power Struggle. He's gonna miss Power Struggle. He might be in for the next one, but he'll be definitely fine for Wrestle Kingdom. Like that's right.
2 months puts him like he'll probably re-debut, come back at Wrestle Kingdom
and that'll be pushing
the timing. I mean, it's gonna be very close. Yes, it'll be very close for Wrestle Kingdom. It's a joint lip with a joint lip. What is that?
It is a right anterior dislocation and a joint lip damage.
Joint lip damage. Name of your punk band. That's all I couldn't remember.
That's a great punk band. Yeah,
great punk band, right? Yeah.
So speaking of road to Power Struggle, some titles changed hands on one of the shows on the road to the Power Struggle.
No joke.
Yes.
Okay.
So Robbie Eagles and the one and only Tiger Mask defeated El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru of the Suzuki Guns.
Right.
And they won. So now Tiger Mask, they won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles.
Those things change like every other month.
Yeah. Like it's hard to keep a hold of who's got them. So this right here also, fun fact, Robbie Eagles is now a double champion. Robbie Eagles is a junior heavyweight champion, and IWGP junior heavyweight champion, and a tag team junior heavyweight or junior tag team champion. So he's got both juniors.
Well, didn't Phantasmo have both of those when he was tag champ?
Yeah. Robbie Eagles took
Okay.
it off of him. And then now Robbie
Okay.
Eagles took this one too. So Robbie Eagles, which I have yet to watch like a lot of Robbie Eagles. I've only watched like 2 or 3 of his matches.
I've watched a couple of his matches, and I liked what I saw.
Yeah, he's good. I need to give him more dedication because he seems to be the next rising star for them. Obviously, because he's got two belts on him right now. So his price
Well,
is
it's kind
high.
of like Tom Lawler. I never really watched much Tom Lawler until I gave him that shot.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit of his stuff, and then I saw him when we saw him live in Chicago. I was like, okay, Tom Lawler, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, I think Robbie Eagles very much the same way because I've seen a little bit of the stuff, but it probably warrants some more. I'm with you there.
And then probably in the most fun news, like fantasy booking wise fun news,
Ooh, Fantasy Booking Island, let's go.
Tama Tonga straight up called out Okada. He said, "You can't send a boy to do a man's job. Go sit down, young boy. You ain't the savior of this company. You only know how to make it rain on a rainy day."
Call Okada young boy.
Yep. Sure did.
So is he going for a singles run then, or?
I guess.
I mean, I know they had the singles thing as part of Road to G1, but I mean, it feels like that's a singles shot right there, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to happen at Power Struggle, like because they're doing the Road to Power Struggle, and those two never got to face each other in the G1 Climax at all, which I thought was kind of interesting because they were both undefeated, and then Tama lost, and they were on the opposite sides anyway. But yeah, they never got to see each other because I mean, this is all in retaliation to Okada saying, "I know you aren't worthy of the Tokyo Dome main event. I'm the only one who is," and he was saying that to Tama Tonga. So
yeah,
it was a retaliation, and honestly, Tama Tonga just straight up shot a kill shot because that is just an amazing comeback. Whew. Whew.
I was playing going overhead. I was like, "What's that?" Yeah. Wow, I mean, I love Guerrillas of Destiny as they are. Mm-hmm. I think though that Tonga has the ability to have a singles run, but it's kind of like the New Day thing, I mean, yes, all 3 of them individual success, but I wouldn't want to see him like totally banned. If it's a one-off thing, just taking a shot at Okada for a couple matches or something, cool, right? We'll see though.
Mm-hmm.
You know who else had a very interesting night in the Tokyo Dome not too recently?
Who's that?
Maki Ito!
Maki Ito!
I can't remember who it was, but it was in New Japan. It was
Joshi Pro. Tokyo Joshi Pro. That's who she's with.
Tokyo Joshi, there, yeah. Tokyo Joshi Pro. They're kind of things. So she had an intergender match with somebody again in the Tokyo Dome. Like one of those, like it was nice.
I love
He took
Maki
a
Ito.
hard bump though. He had 2 chairs and was going to do a package pile driver on her, but he went up and it wasn't like folding chairs. It was like the banquet chairs, right? The little metal with the padded, And they definitely, when he went to go up and stand up on them, they definitely both slid out under him, and he went almost straight down, just barely got her turned enough for her head to go crashing into the cement. So, Maki, come to AEW. It would solve all things. I'm just saying.
She'd be like a top star pretty much instantly, in my opinion, because
yes,
her Twitter game's so damn strong. Like, people will just love it. Like, they loved it when she showed up during the pandemic. Like, people fell in love with her over the pandemic, all because of her Twitter game. Like, it's just insane.
I did. When we were researching it and I found her, I was like, Yes,
Yeah,
my spirit animal.
When they announce her and she goes, "Hello, motherfuckers," it's like, yep, you get my vote instantly because she gets
her
us.
and Lance Archer's like ongoing commentary to each other was great. I would love to see her like she could be an integral part of this women's division without even having to wrestle that much. So what else happened at
That's the
New Japan? I was gonna say Journey
big
Pro, but
pieces
that's
of it.
not-
I mean, there's little things,
right.
like Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer are gonna team up at New Japan Strong.
Right.
Yeah, there's just a few little things like that. Nothing major. I mean, we already know that Buddy Matthews has already called out Okada as well. Like everybody's gunning for Okada because it's Okada, so it's just one of those things.
Didn't no? I was gonna say, didn't Ospreay take another shot at Okada, or is that?
Oh yeah, he did. And then also
Okay.
like there's rumors circulating right now that New Japan did not allow Ospreay to work for MLW in Mexico due to AAA because of their alliance with AAA. But nothing's been confirmed on that I saw, so I don't want to. It's speculation at this point.
That's very interesting. I know we're going to talk about Rampage in a second here, but I had one other note from around the wrestling world that I want to talk about. We waxed poetic a little bit ago about GCW, talking about indies and how they're not even really an indie anymore, right? They're almost like that mid-major.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're Gonzaga.
They're kind of like, they're Gonzaga. They're Butler. They got to a point where it's like they can survive on their own, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So they got their next round of shows coming up weekend of November 12th. It's going to be in Detroit. It's their Midwest promotion. They have shows also going the 4th and the 5th of December. I think those are in Texas. And then the 17th of December, I know, is in Texas.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's right. Trying to keep all their dates straight without having it right in front of me here.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the next show is November 12th, and they've been releasing the card for it, and the card's looking pretty good. So you've got a lot of mainstays, a lot of people who have already been there. By the way, Starboy Charlie, not on the card for a little bit. He broke his leg at their last show.
Oh.
Yeah. So that sucks. But they've got other people to kind of come in and fill in. So Alex Zane's going to be there again. He's in a tag match going against SGC. You've got a couple other matches, and the big names, are kind of very, very interesting. So you have Chelsea Green versus what's her name? Effie's Allie.
Alley Catch.
Catch. Oh my god, I'm butchering this.
Yeah, it's Alley something.
But yes, Allie. So that women's match. And then you have Matt Cardona versus Alex Shelley.
Ooh, I want to see that one.
Alex Shelley is the newly crowned. A couple weeks ago, he won the IWTV Internet Wrestling Champion. Independent Wrestling Champion. That's what it was.
Okay.
It's the belt that Warhorse used to hold. The one that when we first saw who Warhorse was.
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I don't have your face pulled up, so I didn't know if
sorry.
you were.
Yeah.
Did you,
No, I was listening, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, so Alex Shelley's that. So you have the Internet Champion versus the Independent Wrestling Champion. That could be interesting. And then just announced yesterday, making his AEW debut, Leon Ruffin. Yeah, Leon Ruff just put an IN on the end of his name. Leon Ruffin.
Okay.
From NXT,
Yeah.
little black guy who got lion tamered by Swerve.
Yeah, I know. I missed it.
So I'm like, well, there you go. It's like, there's places for people to go. AEW. We do that?
Absolutely. Let's talk some AEW.
Let's do some AEW. So, Friday Night Rampage. 3 matches of pure fun. There was spoilers out that that a lot of people left after the first match. If that's the case, I couldn't really tell on TV. I mean, they shot it after Dynamite in Boston last week.
Yeah, do that.
And so, I mean, if that's the case, it didn't really look like it. I was looking to see if I could see in the crowd, big gaping holes, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were talking about. So I think I'm not going to get into that. So first match. This was a second round AEW Eliminator Tournament match. And this match fucked. Was, I mean, there's some people who are criticizing this match. I don't know why. Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston. There was so much emotion. This is probably one of Eddie Kingston's best emotional performances in AEW. And that includes his initial feud with Jonathan Moxley. I love this. And they complement each other very well. 2 completely different styles. Eddie wasn't playing around. They start off hot. They're going to town. Danielson's chest in a matter of minutes is blood red. I mean, he got so many chops in the first 5 minutes of this match, just bleeding.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. So red. It was. I mean, this match was hard in all the good ways too. It wasn't super stiff, but it was very hard. And at the end of the day, there's kind of a last fear at the end. Dennis kept trying submission holds, and Eddie kept reversing him out and doing a power move, and it's another different submission, reverse on, do a power move. And so Danielson finally gets him in a triangle, and then gets him on the ground, and is on the ground doing a triangle sleeper, and then Kingston there gets his head up just a little bit and just goes boom right in his face before he passes out. So by TKO, Danielson moves on. So he's going to be in the finals at Full Gear. No surprise there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, Tony Schiavone did an interview with CM Punk behind the scenes. Now, this is the only real promo that I put down here because there wasn't a lot, but this was well worth it. More than I would have thought, right? So, interview kind of backstage, and I'm like, oh God, why are we doing more of this? Just getting his face on there for whatever. And you hear at the start of the interview a very angry and upset Eddie Kingston in the faintest, sense, the background, talking about how he never submitted, he didn't quit. Why'd they end that match? And so he kind of stumbles into the area and just goes up, I know you, looking at Punk, and just swats out Tony's mic out of his hand. And the two of them straight shoot at each other. And if this was scripted, this deserved an Oscar, because they were getting real testy real fast. I didn't know that I could have 25 seconds of build-up and be excited for a match at a pay-per-view until I saw this happen. Because he comes in and he's just talking, and they're beeping out Kingston hardcore, and they start beeping out because here, and here comes in a few people from the side. Ruby Soho comes over to send him, hey Ruby, new shirt, Ruby, I got it. She comes over to kind of back up Kingston, and CM Punk ends with, it's like, oh, where are you going? Why don't you come back here? Don't you want to go to sleep again?
That's hilarious.
And then he goes to Tony. He goes, are we out of time? Did he take up all of our time? He goes, yeah, we're out of time. And he just shakes his head and storms off. So put him in a feud of sorts.
There you go.
Of sorts. So anyway, like I said, you had Matt Sydal versus Dante Martin 30. It was good. It was very entertaining, like you expect. The two of them put on a spot match there. It was a little more technical, not so spotty, but it was good. Ended up being that Martin got the victory finally. So
Finally.
Seidel had beat him twice, and Martin got the victory here. All thanks to Leo Rush. No, I don't know why.
Right. He's going to take credit for it, though, for sure.
The angle they're shooting on this. And then they ended the night with a trick or treat match, which was Abaddon versus Britt Baker, DMD. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Sorry. And if the trick was that it was a street fight, the treat was that if Abaddon won, she got a title match. So this match, and you said you heard a lot of negativity about this match, right?
Yeah, the internets were not very happy with this one. They kind of shit on it pretty hard, and I watched this match and I'm like, how?
I mean, it wasn't Rosa Baker, but it was very good. Abaddon looked great. She no-sold at all the perfect times for her character. Like, she never broke character. She didn't break character on the fucking Jericho Cruise, for God's sake.
No, the whole time she was there.
I know. So, I mean, there was a spot, I will say, it was kind of funny. They were on the apron, the hardest part of the ring. And Britt Baker tries to go to do a swinging net breaker onto a table that was set up outside, and it didn't break. All Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair, right?
Yes.
So Jamie Hayter and they don't ignore it. The announcers, they go, "Oh God, didn't quite land right on it." Sometimes when you land on a table, it doesn't break. It hurts more, And they're trying to sell it, and so Rebel and. And Jamie Hayter put the table back up, and then she goes and she does a suplex of Abaddon on the table, and it bends, and it still doesn't break. But my night was made whole when Abaddon had gone on a flurry, taken care of all three, then goes outside and gets the black velvet bag of goodness. The one that holds the most sacred of foreign objects. The thing that I loathe for so much.
Legos?
A big-ass bag of tacks.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
Legos are interesting, but no. Thumbtacks, baby. Oh my God. She lays out the tacks, and then they proceed to go into each other in it. And then turns around, Britt goes to do the lockjaw on Abaddon, but doesn't really go that well trying to do a mandible claw on a zombie, because she just starts biting in her hand. And who knew? That's the way you get out of a lockjaw. Just bite her hand, right? Okay. So she then grabs a handful of tacks, sticks it in her mouth, and does a curb stomp of Abaddon to get the victory. And I thought it was great. Like you said, it was good.
It was a great match. Like, everything about it was great. Like, Abaddon hurt her hand on one of the chair spots, and it was actually world blood there. And no, it was just great. The crowd that was there was really into it. And it was enjoyable as hell. And one of the best things about that whole match for me, Britt Baker's facial expressions. Like, she had that terror in her face, like, what the hell is going on? This chick is crazy. Like, she had that look on her face the whole time. It had so many good spots. I enjoyed the shit out of this match. Thought it was great.
I thought it was great. And it's weird. There seems to be there's extra hatred on the internet. IWC's throwing, and they're focusing it at Britt. And I know there's AEW stands and then there's WWE stands, right? Mm-hmm. And they go, they're very hell-bent, and I don't agree with either one. I'm an AEW fan first and foremost. I don't really care for the WWE that much anymore. But I can't be of that ilk, as a person. I just don't get it. It's like, whatever. That's something else. I don't care about that. You go and if you enjoy that, knock yourself out. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But people just go to town. So, for example, Britt Baker put out a tweet, had both of her t-shirt designs that have the skull on it, the skull with the crack,
Yeah.
And, it just had the link, shopaew.com, and a picture of the two shirts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A little shameless self-promotion, trying to get some money on the shirt you sell for your company, right?
Exactly.
Cool. Immediately, and I can't remember what it was on there, but it was like What is the phrase that she has on those shirts? Do you remember?
Role model? Is it role model or
It wasn't. It wasn't. Those weren't the role models. The role models were different. The ones with the skulls on them. I know you probably have Shop AW pulled up there.
Yeah. Let me look up Brit.
Well, so WWE stance are attacking her two front. They start attacking her for stealing Bailey's role model gimmick.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if you can say either one is stealing each other. They're both very different in how they go. There's some shared verbiage there. The English language, things like that happen, right? I don't think it's Bailey or Britt's fault.
The doctor will see you now.
Yes, because then you started having people retweet pictures of Sasha Banks to her saying the boss will see you now. It's like,
get over yourselves.
Yeah, why? And then and these two sides of, if you're part of this on either side, I'm sorry, fucking stop, right? But you have this like toxic, argumentative thing going back and forth between two sides. I don't know. It's a whole thing, but it just seems like Britt seems to be getting the heat a lot more now, right?
I don't get it. I mean, I still think she's the most over woman in wrestling right now. That's not a WWE product by far.
She's consistent with her character.
Mm-hmm.
She's very consistent. She's thorough. She's, so she never really breaks character.
Mm-hmm.
So what? There's nothing wrong with that. And from all counts and all accords, she's a wonderful person,
Yeah.
outside of wrestling, but she's never breaks character, and her character is kind of a bitch. So you got to deal with it. It is what it is. So, I wanted to end today. I had a little lighthearted story that came about. So, did you have anything else before I send us home with this story? You're gonna love it. So, we didn't take a full trip to Fancy Booking Island, even though one Mr. Windham is now officially free from his 90-day no-compete.
100% free agent.
He has been chirping a little bit on Twitter, especially as people are giving these secondhand accords of like, oh, he deserved to be fired. He goes, oh, thank you for your opinion, Bruce. I'd like to show you my side of the story sometime.
Yeah.
Which I know you saw that and probably loved.
Oh, so, absolutely.
There's speculation. Windham 6. Does that mean 6 is in Dark Order? The open numbers. Who knows? Fancy Booking Island, we could do it another time. But we can both agree that Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, The Fiend, whatever, one of the best, because he's developed most of his characters. So he's one of the, in WWE, he is one of the outliers that he had control over his characters for the most part in WWE. And he's one of the best in crafting characters, right? And gimmicks.
100%.
So whatever he comes up with should be awesome. And he's going on this whole Cult of Wyndham thing. So that's going to be cool.
I can't wait for that.
Now, on the contrast, there was a interview done by Doc Gallows recently. Doc Gallows, formerly Luke Gallows of the Good Brothers. And he was talking about gimmicks. And, he talked about some old gimmicks that he had. And he had this gimmick that he was going to do where he was this, like, demonic deacon. He's going to have a tarantula and crazy face paint. But they couldn't, back in the time, they couldn't find the tarantulas. They couldn't travel the tarantulas. They didn't know what to do with it. And so he goes on to talk about what led to Festus being born. And I'm going to quote this particular story. This was from a recent episode of MCW Cast, is the podcast this was from. So, he says, they had Terry Gordy's son at the time. His name was Jesse. They tried out all these guys to begin with, and I was like, I could do that. Talking about the gimmick that they were going to give to Jesse, kind of this redneck thing, right? So he goes, so I just watched the Redneck Comedy Tour, all the ones that I could find on DVD. And I went and I did a couple promos. So they get back around to it, and he comes back and he says again, they're like, okay, so you're going to debut as pig farming hillbilly. We were in the ring talking about what we're going to do for our debut on SmackDown, and we get told that Vince wants us in his office. It's 20 minutes before doors open, and I was like, are we getting fired before we even start? So we go in, and Vince sits us down. He's like, we're not going to have pig farmers anymore. We're not going to have any more pig farmers. Can you do this? And he then makes towards Gallows the Festus face. Vince McMahon, the president and CEO of the president and chief executive of WWE, makes the Festus face towards Gallows. So he sticks out his tongue at me, and I go, I think so, sir. So they proceed to spend some time back and forth, sticking their tongues out at each other, and Vince is like, no, not like that, like this. So they're sitting there for about 5 minutes, sticking our tongues out of each other, back and forth. And Ray Gordy's just sitting there. Finally, he goes, "You're going to be in a catatonic state at all times until the bell rings. And then you're going to go crazy in rage. Then when the bell rings again, you're going to turn back into a catatonic state." I knew a guy in high school that did that, this guy says. So then he looks at Ray and he's like, "You, what's your favorite color?" And Ray's like, sits there for a minute and finally goes, yellow. And so Vince goes, "Great, go buy a yellow singlet. You'll start next week." And that's how I became Festus.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't know, Wyndham. That's a high bar to set.
That is a high bar to set.
One of the most terrible gimmicks I think there has ever been.
There's been some bad ones. That's pretty high up there.
Festus is pretty bad.
I mean, Superheroes in Training was pretty bad.
I mean, there was campy bad, and then there's over the top bad. But then you have the ones that are just bad. Like, who was the guy that wore the fake Escape from Titan, hairy suit, the big giant guy that was like
the giant
like early 90s, who was
he was part of the Freaks. He wore the bodysuit. Yeah.
It was a bodysuit with a bunch of fake muscles drawn on it, airbrushed on it, and then random spots of fur.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just costume bad. But you got other ones like the Berserker. That was just, okay, whatever. But Festus was just the stupid, laziest thing there ever was. And apparently, that's how they came up with it. In a matter of 5 minutes of Vince McMahon and Doc Gallows practicing sticking their tongues out at each other till Vince just goes, "There it is." That's a gimmick.
So bad.
So, Wyndham, I'm making a very low bar. Do better than that. But I can't wait to see what Wyndham does. I want to hear predictions. You guys let us know. What do you think Wyndham's going to do? Is Wyndham going to show up in AEW? More than likely. Is he going to show up in Impact? Probably not. Is he going to show up in New Japan, though? Is he going to just be like Moxley and just kind of show up randomly all over the place? Yes, please. That would be my dream. He just shows up at GCW one night. Shows up at Pro Wrestling Guerrillas one night. Shows up at New Japan. Shows up at AEW. Shows up just kind of just bam, 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 bam.
Love that. Since his free agency started, I mean, there is a show Wednesday he could show up at and still have a match for full gear.
Good. I don't think he would. Well, I mean, with full gear, we'll talk about it after the show. It's gonna be Wednesday's gonna be such a late night. Luckily, they're not doing Rampage after, because Rampage is live in St. Louis. So I think they're gonna do a couple dark matches before, like a dark match after, and then we get home at a decent time. So
we'll see, because I mean, last time we were there, they didn't even have Rampage, and we didn't get out of there till damn near 11:30.
I know. Well, we shall see what happens. But we'll be there for it. We'll get you guys we're going to come back more dedicated. We're going to get you guys all caught up on that. We'll see if there are any surprises. I don't think Wyndham's going to be there, but you never know. We'll let you know what happens with that. And then we are actually going to be making some changes here with the holidays coming up and everything going on here. Plus, we've asked for feedback. We've been getting some feedback from you guys too, a little bit here and there. So we're actually going to move to starting next week. We're going to move to just doing a single podcast a week. It'll come out on Thursdays. It might be just a little bit longer than the hour and 15, hour and 20 that we've been doing. Because we'll talk about AEW. We won't necessarily do like a full review like we have been doing, maybe scale that back just a smidge and, touch base on some goings on around there. But we're just kind of going to a single weekly show. So make it maybe a little more palatable instead of having two separate shows, just have everything in one good show. We're going to do that for a little bit here. So please continue. Let us know. Give us a comment, give us a tweet, give us a DM, give us a pigeon carrier. Let a smoke signal. Shit, I don't know.
Send a
Let
crow.
us know.
Send a crow.
Send a crow. Yes. Send a crow up north. I can't do accents. I don't know why I try.
I don't either, but it's enjoyable.
I'm going to keep going. Yep.
It's really enjoyable.
Yep. Yeah. You can send Ruby Soho to hand deliver it to
Hi, Ruby.
me, and then
Ha!
I already did it first night. Fuck you.
I know, but I got the last one in.
Yeah, you did. You really did. Yes.
I'm getting you to assimilate to pitch perfect.
I'm just trying to steal. We're stealing gimmicks left and right here.
Yes.
Anyway, continue to let us know. Comment back at us. Tweet. Let us know if there are certain things you want us to talk more about, talk less about. Like, hey, I really don't give a shit that you guys talk about this particular thing. Great. Let us know. We're big boys. We can take constructive criticism. Or if there's something hey, you guys I love it when you talk about this. Do more of that. Let us know. So Be on the lookout. We got some ideas for changes coming in the new year too. We're talking about doing interviews in a different manner, kind of, whatever. But we want to go to just one solid show every week as our anchor point. So that's where we're going to move. Jamie, anything else?
No, looking forward to Wednesday. They officially just announced while we were here
They did not.
a meet and greet, but it's free if you bring diapers.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a second.
It's to meet Preston Vance, and then Alex Reynolds.
Okay.
And Alex Reynolds. So 2 members of the Dark Order.
Okay. I don't have Reynolds on my Dark Order shirt.
I know you don't, but you have Preston
10.
Vance.
I have 10. That's cool. All right. All right, cool. Well, let's go. Here's one thing. I know you got traveling schedules. I get it. But you can pre-sell something if you're going to do like a meet and greet. You can advertise it, with wrestlers to be determined later, right? You're going to have a couple guys there, a couple people there, right?
Yeah.
You might not know who it is, but you can at least be like, hey, budget your time accordingly because we're going to have a meet and greet around this time instead of a day or two before. Just be like, oh yeah, by the way, tomorrow there's going to be a meet and greet at 3:00. Let me know early. Anyway, cool. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. I know I'm rambling now. So Jamie, take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down Total Spotfest, I got 6 words for you. What the hell's a riff-off? Pitch perfect.
Comment if you get the reference. Let's go.
Peace.